So I would have to say the number one thing that I like about having that triple camera system on this drone is that compression effect that you can get, because like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like it gives the video more emotion. Like, look at the difference here. So here's just the 1X camera, the Hasselblad camera, just rotating around this elevator. And then now here is zoomed all the way into 7X. And look at that compression effect, the background. It just looks so much more cinematic. I know people are sick of hearing that word, but it looks really, really cool. So yeah, many benefits to this triple camera system, but I think that's the most important one. So DJI has a new flagship drone. When you first see the DJI Mavic 3 Pro for the first time, your eyes are immediately drawn to this impressive looking camera system. Yes, those are 3 separate cameras on a single drone. And yes, it does look amazing. So in this video, I'm going to talk mostly about this triple camera system because it truly is unique. And I think it's the reason that this will be the most sought after drone for so many filmmakers and creators. Also, I'll talk about the difference between this and the other versions of the Mavic 3, and I'll show you some of the things you can do with this drone and the triple camera system. Also, I do have a couple of test results to show you in this video, but I'll have additional videos on this drone because I don't want to make this one too long. Plus, I'm going to have several YouTube Shorts videos that will dive deeper into the details on everything this drone has to offer. And by the way, if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. My name is Russ. It's so nice to have you here. So what I have here is the Mavic 3 Pro Fly More combo with the RC Pro. And with this package, you're going to get 3 of the 5,000 milliamp hour batteries, the RC Pro controller, an ND filter kit, the power cable, the 3 battery charging bank, the Mavic 3 Pro drone itself, a 100-watt fast charger, 2 USB-C cables, and 2 extra full sets of propellers. Plus this much better, improved version of the canvas carrying bag that we saw when the Mavic 3 first came out. I'm gonna make a YouTube short about this bag specifically because it really is a good bag. Now, there are other packages that you can get with the Mavic 3 Pro, including just the drone by itself, but I'm gonna have a link in the video description with all of the latest prices of each package that is available. Now, as far as specifications go, there's really no need for me to just read off the specs to you guys. So here, I'll put them up on the screen. These are the major specs. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to read through those. Now let's talk about this camera system. So this eye-catching camera has 3 separate lenses. It has a wide-angle 20 megapixel Hasselblad with a micro four thirds sensor, and that's a 24 millimeter equivalent. It has the 12 megapixel half-inch telecamera, and that's a 166 millimeter equivalent. And then rounding out the perfect trifecta of lenses is the newly added 48 megapixel 1/1.3 inch sensor, and that's a 70 millimeter equivalent. So why pack 3 cameras into one unit? Well, the purpose of this design is to provide the creator with the opportunity to capture a subject at a variety of perspectives at an optimal image quality. And that allows for more options when editing and more creativity when recording videos and capturing photos. You can capture the overall location with that wide angle Hasselblad, and then get an overview of the scene with the subjects and the surroundings with the new 3X medium zoom. And then you can get up close and personal, all without moving the drone at all with that 166 millimeter telezoom. Now this is very efficient, it provides variety, it keeps the viewers interested, and ultimately it results in providing greater context for the viewer. You establish the scene, you get medium angles to pull you in, and then the close-ups bring the emotion. Now next time you watch a movie, I want you to look for those shots, look for those 3 things. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it every time you watch a movie. So on my first flight test with the Mavic 3 Pro, I went out to our new medical park, which is finally about to open. If you've been with the channel for a while, you know this has been a long time coming. I think it's been over 3 years now. It's an impressive campus, and it's going to be a great thing for our community. So here I have the drone positioned at about 1,700 feet away from the hospital. And here's a shot with the wide-angle Hasselblad camera. And then here is the brand new medium zoom camera at 3X with the drone positioned in the exact same spot.
And then finally, here is the telecamera at 7 times zoom. Now these are optical zooms, meaning that whatever you capture at those focal lengths are going to be very high quality. I just want to show you the difference here. So here's a shot with that primary Hasselblad zoomed in to 3x. Now that's a digital zoom and it doesn't look so good, right? But then look at this lossless zoom from the 3x camera, from that new camera, so much better. And then here's another really good example of how valuable it is to have 3 cameras in one drone. There are many times when opportunities to get a good shot are fleeting. Your time is limited to get a variety of angles. Well, as I was flying over the train trestle the other day, it happened to be really good timing and a train came by. And so I was able to capture 3 different high quality focal lengths. I got the wide shot, I got it in a little bit closer, and then a nice zoomed in shot. And I didn't have to move the drone at all. It's just so efficient and it gives you more possibilities in a shorter amount of time. So another really cool benefit of the zoom cameras on the Mavic 3 Pro is how they allow you to record with background compression. It looks 100 times better than using that standard wide angle lens. So when you zoom in on a subject and you move around it or alongside it, the background effect just looks so impressive. Now, I don't have any spectacular cityscapes to show you. I live in a rural community, but I do want to show you a project that I'm going to be working on this summer.
So one of the most exciting things that I plan to use the Mavic 3 Pro for this summer, we have this abandoned elevator downtown and the city has hired an international artist to come in, Guido Van Helten, I think is his name. I'll put a link for his Instagram. It's amazing what he can do. And I'm going to document the process of that. And the reason I like the Mavic 3 Pro is because I'm going to be able to capture the downtown with the wide angle and just get the overall scene and then zoom in a little bit more with that medium 3x camera and just, you know, show the surroundings, you know, show his equipment, show his team. I don't know if he does it by himself or if he's got a team, and then zoom in with that 7x and just be able to capture like his expression, capture him doing his painting, like all without having to move the drone at all. So I'll be able to stay far away. I won't have to bother him or anything like that. I'm sure he's used to it, but I'm really looking forward to that. Also, you know, the Mavic 3 waypoints are so good. So I'm gonna be able to do a waypoints mission and come back here on a regular basis and run that same mission. And my goal is to kind of capture like how it looks now, you know, no paint on it at all, and then kind of transition into the completed project. I'm gonna have to practice that. I've tried that before and it's never worked out. So, but I think that's gonna look pretty cool. So if you wanna see that, you wanna see the progress on that, go ahead and subscribe. I think it's gonna be later this summer. They haven't set a date yet. They're still trying to raise a little more money. And, but once they get it going and once we have a date, I'll let you guys know. So I'll keep you updated on that. But yeah, just being able to be like so far away, like look at the difference here. So I flew, I think I was, I have really, really good vision. So I think I was about 3,000 feet away from the elevator and I took a shot with the wide angle and then I just zoomed into the 3X and then I zoomed into the 7X and just that compression effect is just so amazing. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, it just makes everything look so much more dynamic and cinematic. So just being able to capture it like that. Like I know it's really nice to capture aerial footage with that 1X camera. That Hasselblad is amazing, 20 megapixel. You can get amazing photos with it. But being able to zoom in, that 3X camera is perfect. It's just right. It's not too close and it doesn't wiggle at all. There's no movement at all, but you still get that parallax effect from the 3X camera. So yeah, I am very, very impressed with the camera system on this drone.
So you can choose to zoom in with these different cameras simply by tapping the icons on the screen and it will switch to that precise focal length. It does take a couple of seconds. I kind of hope they maybe tweak that a little bit or speed that up in a future update. But you can also switch into explore mode and just use the right thumb wheel to zoom in and out with those 3 cameras. Now you're gonna see a slight jump when it switches between cameras. I don't know if we'll ever be able to have like a smooth zoom from 1X all the way to 28X. I don't think so, just because it has to switch between cameras, but maybe that'll happen someday. Now let's talk about DLOG-M for a minute. What is DLOG-M? It's a proprietary profile from DJI that increases the dynamic range and the contrast of your video. It allows you to capture a wider range of exposure, and it provides you with more flexibility in the editing process. So here's a shot of the dark side of the elevator this morning that I took in normal mode. And then here's a shot using DLOG-M with just a few minor adjustments in post-processing. It looks so much better. Now you can also record into the HLG profile on the Mavic 3 Pro, which I think the majority of drone creators prefer because it's kind of a little bit easier to work with when you're editing. It's totally a personal preference, but both of those are going to result in a much nicer looking video than using the normal profile.
Now, one thing I do want to say is I have a little bit of concern with is as big and heavy as this gimbal is, it's going to make this drone really front heavy. It doesn't feel front heavy when you're holding it, but just having this giant big gimbal out here, if you crash this drone, it's going to land nose first every time because of this big heavy gimbal on there. So yes, it does have obstacle avoidance, 360 up and down, whatever. But as I learned the first week of flying my Mavic 3 drone, even with all those safety things in place, you can still crash your drone. So that is one little bit of a concern. The other thing that I wanted to see how this camera affects the performance of the drone is I wanted to see if it would affect the flight time. Now, of course, it's 43 minutes advertised flight time, and the regular Mavic 3, and the Mavic 3 Classic have a 46-minute advertised flight time, so it's a little bit less, but I wanted to see the actual percentage I could get on the drone flying as close to the parameters that DJI uses as possible.
So what they do is they do in a controlled environment. They fly at 20.13 miles per hour with 0 wind. They have APAS off, AirSense off, the camera set to 1080 at 24 FPS. The video mode's off, and they fly from 100% down to 0%. So I tried to get as close as I could to all those things, except for, of course, 0 wind, but it was as close it was gonna get around here. It was like 2 miles per hour. It was a very slight breeze. I kept the speed under 20 miles per hour at all times. I flew it manually. I went from 100% down to 1%, and I got 36 minutes of flight time. So that's about 83% of advertised, which I think is actually pretty good. And then a couple of days later, I wanted to see how it performed in the wind. So it was a really awful day with 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. I flew all around. I flew at different speeds. I recorded some 5.1K video in DLOG-M. I had obstacle avoidance on, AirSense on, and from 96% down to 5%, I got just under 29 minutes of flight time, or right around 67%, which considering the conditions is pretty acceptable for me. Anytime I can get over 72% of advertised flight time from a DJI drone, I'm pretty happy with that, considering everything that you're doing with it. So with those windy conditions, I think that's pretty good. Now, you're normally not going to be flying in those conditions. So I think when you're flying normally, with 20 mile per hour winds or less, you're going to get right around that 75% of advertised flight time. And that's pretty good. The fastest I was able to fly the Mavic 3 Pro was 47 miles per hour in sport mode, which is very impressive considering it's using the same battery as the other Mavic 3 drones. It's the same airframe, and it weighs 58 grams more. And it has this huge noggin on the front that has to fight the wind. So they have the brains of this thing functioning pretty efficiently right out of the box. And I think it's only going to improve with firmware updates as they are released. Finally, I wanted to see if the active track worked just as well while using the zoom cameras. So what I did is I took it out with me on a bike ride. And when I say bike, I mean a battery-powered moped ride. And it tracked me beautifully. The trail was pretty busy that day as it was really nice out. And a great benefit of this triple camera system is that I was able to have the drone far enough away from me that it didn't cause any concern from the other people on the trail. And I was still able to get some close-up footage of myself. I would have to say that being able to have the drone further away significantly mitigates any uncomfortable interactions because most people won't even know it's there. So I think that's really, really valuable if you're going to be flying anywhere where there's other people or a lot of people that might be wary of drones. So that is the DJI Mavic 3 Pro drone with this amazing camera system. Like I said, I love it. I love the ability to get that parallax effect, that background compression. This is going to be my new drone overall. Like I'm gonna use it. I used to use my Air 2S mostly for everything, especially real estate. But now with this camera system, being able to impress those homeowners and those realtors, this is my new drone, you guys. This is my workhorse. It's gonna be my workhorse and I love it. I'm gonna have a lot more videos coming on it, a lot of long form videos, some YouTube shorts on it. If you have any questions about it, put those in the comments because that'll help guide future videos about this drone. I'm gonna make a video on the RC Pro controller. This is my first time using this on a regular basis. I don't know why I waited this long to use the RC Pro, but very, very impressive controller. So that's coming as well. I'll have a link in the video description for all of the options available on the Mavic 3 Pro. So be sure to check that out. Subscribe if you want to see future content on this drone or future content about all kinds of other drones. I really appreciate that. Follow me on social media, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to see more bonus content, I want to thank you sincerely for watching the entire video today. Hey, watch this video right here next. I really think you're going to enjoy that one. Have a great day. And as always, fly safe and fly smart.